Hi, welcome to Your Black World News. I'm your host, Roosevelt Mitchell III. Today I'm joined by attorney Gerald Griggs, who is also a freedom fighter and the vice president of the NAACP chapter. How's it going today, Doc?
Man, it's doing pretty good. Thanks for having me again, Roosevelt.
Oh, anytime, man. So, Ebony Dickens, can you let everyone know about Ebony Dickens and her case?
Yes, she was a young lady in Atlanta that was charged with making terroristic threats on Facebook a few months ago, and then she was indicted last month, arrested again, and now she's on in court, and we're fighting the case. Basically, she's alleged to have threatened all white police officers after the unfortunate incidents that have had unrest throughout the country. She made a post basically stating that she was tired of what's been going on in the criminal justice system and that she made purported some threats against the lives of some white police officers on Facebook, and thus she was indicted.
Well, I'm no lawyer, so I'm going to ask you, what happened to freedom of speech? Is that not freedom of speech?
Well, it's clearly freedom of speech. As of June the 1st, in Aliens versus United States, the Supreme Court stated the same thing with regard to threats made on social media. So I don't understand why she was arrested, and I definitely don't understand why she's facing trial. But we plan on vigorously defending her, and that's why we're reaching out to the public for support. The media coverage of this case has been completely one-sided. They didn't even read the entire post. The second post that she made was talking about how ironic and how ridiculous it would be for someone to target anyone based on race or based on position. So if you read the text together, you see there was never a threat to do any harm to anyone.
And but I see a lot of people saying different things about police officers and other people on Facebook, and this is the first time I ever heard of anyone ever getting arrested for it.
Exactly. And I mean, the Justice Department was taken to task by the Supreme Court for that. We have a First Amendment right to freedom of speech, and as long as that speech is not an imminent threat of lawlessness, you can say pretty much whatever. And I mean, her particular threat, alleged threat, or alleged post, she was talking about the injustice that was going on and the fact that African Americans should do something about it. But she, in no uncertain terms, stated that she was going to do anything about it or that she was going to threaten anyone. So I failed to see how this rises to the level of a crime that someone should be arrested. There was actually a preacher, I believe it was down in Texas, who issued a direct threat and said that he was going to kill members of the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's still walking around. He still hasn't been arrested. So I mean, if we're going to arrest people for threats on Facebook, we need to make sure we arrest everyone for threats on Facebook. But again, the Supreme Court and the First Amendment are quite clear. As long as the conduct is not directed directly at someone with an imminent threat, a clear and present danger, it's not unlawful. And I think in this particular case, if you read Miss Dickens' threats in their entirety, you see that she was not making any threats directed at anyone, and she was actually making a ironic statement of how ludicrous something like that would be. I think that the climate, after the unfortunate events that happened in Charleston and what's happening in Baltimore, I think that people are more on edge about police community relations, and I think we need to work on that. But I think that we also need to be cautious when trampling on people's constitutional rights, because change doesn't occur without heightened awareness and a call to action. I think that with our new social media, people have more access and thus have the ability to cause change that way. So I think that law enforcement needs to take a long, hard look at some of the tactics they've been using and the responses, and then come together with the community and see if we can get some actual change instead of sweeping stuff under the rug. I mean, for a long time, a police officer could do whatever they wanted to do, and they had the blue wall. And I think the public is tired of the blue wall. So I think that it needs to be a collaborative effort by the community to talk these issues out and come to some real systemic change. Otherwise, you're going to have issues like in Baltimore and like in Ferguson, like the need for body cameras and all those things. When actually what needs to happen is the police department needs to change its training, and we need to have real concrete conversations with the community about the police policing the community.
What can the community do in order to help Ebony Dickens in this case?
Well, what we're trying to do on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram is we're trying to start a groundswell, a grassroots movement. You can type in hashtag free Ebony Dickens. You can communicate with us via these mediums and come to court and help us convince the prosecutor to drop this case. Because at this point, it serves nobody any justice incarcerating someone for their speech. The United States was founded on a free exchange, a free marketplace of ideas, and I think that this case shows that. I think the Supreme Court has been quite clear in what it delineates as hate speech and what it delineates as free speech, and I think this is free speech. So the community needs to become more aware. They need to become more involved because the justice system is being used ineffectively and improperly. We're not going to charge police officers with shootings and crimes that we see on body cameras, we see in videotape. How can we go to Facebook and Instagram and try to take out the people who are calling against this? So I think that we need everyone's support. Again, hashtag free Ebony Dickens on all social media. It needs to be the next change. Trending topic, so we can have a real discussion about freedom of speech and about actually people can always make contact with me at Attorney Griggs and get more information on how we're going to deal with this issue.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope you all enjoyed this segment of Your Black World News. Until next time, my friend, be blessed and be encouraged.